After 50, strength stops being about appearance and starts becoming about permission for your body to keep participating fully in life. When you slowly lower into a squat or rise from a chair with control, you are not just exercising muscles, you are negotiating with gravity in a calm, intelligent way. Science shows that the muscles of the legs and hips are deeply connected to blood sugar control, bone density, and hormonal balance. These tissues are metabolically active, meaning they help decide how energy is stored, released, and used. When they weaken, the body quietly shifts toward fragility. When they are trained, even gently, the body reorganizes itself around resilience. Unlike running, which repeatedly loads the same joints at speed, slow strength spreads force across tendons, bones, and connective tissue in a way the nervous system can tolerate and adapt to. This matters because aging is not a failure of muscle alone, it is a conversation between muscle fibers, nerves, and the brain's sense of safety. Controlled resistance tells the brain that movement is stable and predictable. As that message repeats, coordination improves, reaction time sharpens, and everyday actions require less effort. Carrying groceries, climbing stairs, standing up from the floor, these are not chores, they are biological tests of independence. There is also something deeply calming about slow strength. Fast, high-impact exercise often activates stress hormones, especially in bodies that recover more slowly than they once did. Strength performed with intention has the opposite effect. It lowers cortisol over time, improves insulin sensitivity, and encourages the release of growth signals that protect muscle and bone. Research consistently shows that people who maintain leg strength as they age live longer, not because strength itself is magical, but because it preserves the ability to move, to adapt, and to recover from illness or injury. Muscle, after 50, becomes a storage site for health. It holds glucose so it doesn't damage blood vessels. It anchors joints so cartilage is spared unnecessary wear. It even communicates with the immune system through signaling molecules that reduce chronic inflammation. Each controlled repetition is a quiet instruction to the body to stay structurally sound. This is why even bodyweight movements can be powerful. The stimulus does not need to be extreme to be meaningful. Consistency and precision matter more than load. There is also a psychological dimension that science increasingly recognizes. Slow strength restores confidence in one's physical self. Fear of falling, fear of pain, fear of doing damage, often leads to less movement, which accelerates decline. Strength training reverses that loop. As the body feels capable again, the brain loosens its protective brakes. Pain sensitivity often decreases, posture improves, and movement becomes less guarded. This is not bravado, it is neurological recalibration. What makes this form of exercise especially valuable after 50 is that it respects time. Muscles respond not just to effort, but to recovery. Slow strength allows tissues to adapt without overwhelming repair systems that may already be busy managing life stress, sleep changes, and metabolic shifts. It teaches patience, and in doing so, it aligns with how the aging body actually learns. Each repetition is less about exhaustion and more about information that tells your biology you are still a reliable structure worth maintaining. In this way, strength becomes less of a workout and more of a conversation, one where the body listens closely, adjusts subtly, and continues building capacity without urgency or fear. Balance is often mistaken for a skill reserved for athletes or dancers, yet after 50 it quietly becomes one of the most critical biological protections we have. Long before a fall ever happens, the body begins to lose subtle communication between the feet, the inner ear, the eyes, and the brain. This loss is rarely dramatic at first. It shows up as hesitation on uneven ground, a slight stiffness when turning, or a subconscious fear of quick movements. Balance training addresses this decline at its source, not by strengthening a single muscle, but by restoring a conversation across multiple systems that evolved to keep us upright and responsive. From a scientific perspective, balance is a neurological process disguised as a physical one. When you stand on one leg or slowly shift your weight, tiny sensors in your joints and muscles send streams of information to the brain about position and pressure. The inner ear monitors head movement, while the eyes confirm orientation in space. The brain integrates all of this in real time and decides how much muscle activation is needed to prevent collapse. With age, this integration can slow down, not because the brain is failing, but because it receives less varied input. Balance exercises reintroduce that missing information, reminding the nervous system how to interpret complexity again. What makes balance training so powerful after 50 is its efficiency. A few minutes of deliberate practice can significantly improve reaction time and postural control. Studies show that improving balance reduces fall risk more effectively than increasing muscle strength alone. This is because many falls are not caused by weakness, but by delayed or confused neural responses. The body simply reacts too late. Balance exercises train speed of correction rather than speed of movement. They teach the body how to catch itself, not how to rush forward. There is also a deep psychological shift that occurs when balance improves. Fear of falling changes how people move long before a fall ever happens. Steps become smaller, posture becomes guarded, and breathing becomes shallow. This protective tension actually worsens balance by limiting natural adjustments. Gentle balance training reverses this pattern. As the body proves to itself that it can sway, adjust, and recover safely, confidence returns. The nervous system relaxes, and movement becomes fluid again. This is not motivation, it is trust being rebuilt at a biological level. Balance work also has surprising effects on brain health. The constant micro-adjustments required during balance exercises stimulate areas of the brain involved in attention, spatial awareness, and memory. This is why balance training is increasingly recommended not just for fall prevention, but for cognitive longevity. When the brain is challenged to process sensory input and motor output simultaneously, it strengthens neural pathways that support clarity and focus. In this sense, standing on one leg is not just a physical act, it is a neurological workout. Unlike running, which largely moves the body in a straight line, balance introduces variability. Life is not linear, and neither are the challenges it presents. Uneven sidewalks, sudden turns, unexpected obstacles all demand adaptability. Balance training prepares the body for unpredictability. It teaches the nervous system how to remain calm and responsive when conditions change. This adaptability is one of the strongest predictors of functional independence as we age. Perhaps most importantly, balance training restores dignity to movement. It allows people to walk without fear, to turn without hesitation, and to trust their bodies in everyday situations. This trust feeds back into activity levels, social engagement, and overall quality of life. When balance improves, movement expands, and when movement expands, health follows in quiet, compounding ways. The body is no longer bracing against the world, but participating in it with awareness and control. Walking is the most underestimated form of cardiovascular training, especially after 50, because it lacks drama and spectacle. Yet biologically, it is one of the most sophisticated movements the human body performs. Every step is a controlled fall caught by muscle, bone, and nervous system working in precise coordination. When walking is done with intention rather than haste, it becomes a powerful signal of safety to the body. Unlike running, which often pushes the heart and lungs into a stress response, steady walking trains the cardiovascular system to work efficiently without triggering alarm. From a physiological standpoint, walking improves circulation in a way that supports healing rather than strain. The rhythmic contraction of leg muscles acts as a pump, assisting blood return to the heart and reducing pressure on the vascular system. This lowers the workload on the heart while still strengthening it. Blood vessels respond by becoming more flexible, improving their ability to regulate blood pressure. Over time, this gentle stimulus enhances endurance without exhausting recovery capacity, which becomes increasingly important as the body ages. Walking also has a profound effect on metabolic health. Muscles engaged during walking absorb glucose from the bloodstream, reducing the burden on insulin. This improves blood sugar control and decreases the risk of metabolic disorders that become more common with age. Unlike intense exercise, which can temporarily raise blood sugar due to stress hormones, walking creates a stable metabolic environment. The body learns to manage energy calmly, efficiently, and predictably. Breathing patterns during walking further amplify these benefits. When pace allows for nasal breathing and relaxed exhalation, the nervous system shifts toward parasympathetic dominance, the state associated with repair and regeneration. Heart rate variability improves, inflammation markers decline, and sleep quality often improves as a downstream effect. This is not coincidence. The body interprets calm, rhythmic movement as a sign that the environment is safe, allowing resources to shift from survival toward maintenance and recovery. There is also a mechanical intelligence to walking that running often bypasses. Walking loads joints through their full, natural range at a pace that allows connective tissue to adapt. Cartilage relies on movement to receive nutrients, and walking provides this nourishment without compressive shock. Tendons and ligaments respond to repeated, moderate tension by becoming more resilient. This is how durability is built, not through force, but through repetition and consistency. Cognitively, walking occupies a unique space. It stimulates the brain without overwhelming it. Studies show that walking improves mood, attention, and creative thinking, partly because it increases blood flow to the brain while reducing mental noise. When walking is done without constant distraction, it becomes a form of moving meditation. Thoughts organize themselves, stress dissolves, and the mind regains clarity. This mental benefit feeds back into physical health, as chronic stress is one of the most damaging forces in aging physiology. Walking also respects variability in energy levels. Some days the body is ready for more, other days it is not. Walking adapts to both without punishment. This flexibility encourages consistency, which matters more than intensity for long-term health. A body that moves every day, even gently, maintains better joint function, cardiovascular capacity, and emotional resilience than one that alternates between extremes of exertion and rest. Perhaps the greatest strength of walking after 50 is that it reinforces participation in life rather than separation from it. It can be social, reflective, or solitary. It integrates movement into daily routines instead of isolating it as a task. As walking becomes a habit, it reshapes posture, breathing, and self-perception. The body begins to expect movement, not strain, and health grows quietly from that expectation, step by step, breath by breath. Mobility is not about becoming flexible in the dramatic sense, but about restoring access to movement the body was designed to perform without resistance or fear. After 50, stiffness is often interpreted as damage or decline, yet biologically it is more often a sign of underused ranges and protective tension. Joints are living structures that depend on movement to remain healthy. When movement becomes repetitive or cautious, connective tissues adapt by shortening and thickening, not because they are failing, but because they are responding to limited information. Mobility work reintroduces that missing information in a gentle, non-threatening way. From a scientific perspective, slow joint rotations and controlled ranges of motion stimulate the production and circulation of synovial fluid, the substance that lubricates joints and nourishes cartilage. Unlike muscles, cartilage has no direct blood supply, it relies on movement to absorb nutrients. Without regular, varied motion, joints become dry and less resilient. Mobility exercises act like a pump, compressing and releasing tissue so that nourishment can flow. This process does not require intensity, only consistency and awareness. Mobility also speaks directly to the nervous system. Many limitations in range of motion are not structural, but neurological. The brain restricts movement it perceives as unsafe based on past experiences, injuries, or prolonged inactivity. When mobility work is performed slowly and within comfortable limits, it reassures the nervous system that movement is safe again. Over time, this recalibration allows range to expand naturally. Pain often decreases not because tissue has changed dramatically, but because the brain no longer feels the need to protect it so aggressively. The spine deserves special attention in this conversation. It is not a rigid column, but a dynamic structure designed to bend, rotate, and absorb force. Modern lifestyles and repetitive exercise patterns often reduce spinal movement to a narrow range, increasing strain elsewhere. Gentle spinal mobility distributes forces more evenly across the body, reducing stress on hips, knees, and shoulders. When the spine moves well, the rest of the body moves more efficiently, conserving energy and reducing wear. Mobility training also restores coordination between joints. The body does not move in isolation. One joint's limitation often forces another to compensate. Restricted hips can overload the lower back, stiff shoulders can strain the neck. By improving mobility across multiple areas, movement becomes more harmonious. This harmony reduces the cumulative micro-stresses that contribute to chronic pain over time. Instead of fighting the body, mobility encourages cooperation among its parts. Emotionally, mobility work cultivates patience and presence. It requires listening rather than pushing. This shift is important after 50, when the cost of ignoring subtle signals increases. Slow movement creates space for awareness of breath, tension, and effort. As awareness improves, movement quality improves, and with it, confidence. The body becomes less of an adversary and more of a partner. Unlike running, which rewards repetition and endurance, mobility rewards curiosity. Exploring different angles and ranges keeps the nervous system engaged and adaptable. This adaptability is essential for responding to unexpected demands, from reaching for a falling object to stepping off an uneven surface. Mobility prepares the body not for performance, but for reality. Over time, consistent mobility work reshapes posture and reduces the energy cost of movement. Standing, walking, and even sitting become less effortful. This efficiency accumulates across the day, reducing fatigue and preserving mental clarity. The body begins to move with ease not because it is stronger, but because resistance has been removed. Perhaps most importantly, mobility restores a sense of ownership over one's body. It counters the belief that aging means shrinking possibilities. Each regained range, each smoother movement, is a quiet reminder that the body is still capable of learning and adapting. Movement becomes less about limitation and more about expression, unfolding gently as trust replaces tension and motion becomes natural again. Breathing is the most constant movement the body performs, yet it is rarely trained with the same intention as muscles or joints. After 50, this oversight becomes significant, because breathing patterns strongly influence how the nervous system interprets effort, safety, and recovery. Shallow, rapid breathing sends a message of urgency to the brain, even when the body is not in danger. Over time, this keeps stress systems quietly activated, interfering with sleep, digestion, and tissue repair. When slow, controlled breathing is paired with simple bodyweight movement, the body receives a different message, one of stability and internal order. From a physiological perspective, long, unforced exhales stimulate the vagus nerve, a central pathway in regulating heart rate, blood pressure, and inflammation. As the exhale lengthens, the heart naturally slows, and variability between beats improves, a sign of cardiovascular resilience. This process does not require intensity or exhaustion. It requires rhythm. When movement follows breath rather than competing with it, exercise becomes regulation instead of stress, allowing the body to adapt without being overwhelmed. This combination of breathing and movement also reshapes how oxygen is used. Efficient breathing improves the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, which directly affects cellular energy production. Many people assume fatigue is a lack of strength or motivation, when in reality it is inefficient respiration. By slowing the breath during movement, the body learns to extract more value from each inhale. Muscles receive oxygen without urgency, and the brain remains calm and focused. This efficiency is especially valuable after 50, when recovery resources are more limited. There is also a powerful connection between breath, posture, and joint health. Controlled breathing engages deep stabilizing muscles in the abdomen and spine, creating internal support during movement. This reduces unnecessary strain on joints and allows movements like standing, reaching, or stepping to feel lighter and more controlled. The body moves as an integrated system rather than a collection of isolated parts. Over time, this integration reduces compensatory patterns that often lead to chronic pain. Psychologically, breathing-centered movement trains awareness. It brings attention inward without disengaging from the body. This awareness allows early detection of tension or fatigue, preventing overexertion. Instead of pushing through discomfort, the individual learns to adjust pace and effort in real time. This self-regulation is a hallmark of sustainable health, replacing the cycle of overdoing and recovering with a steady rhythm of participation. Breathing also influences emotional resilience. Slow, rhythmic breathing has been shown to reduce anxiety and improve mood by modulating brain regions involved in stress and emotion. When paired with movement, this effect deepens. The body releases endorphins without the spike in stress hormones often triggered by high-intensity exercise. This creates a sense of calm vitality rather than exhaustion, encouraging consistency and enjoyment. Unlike running, which often demands performance and speed, breathing-centered movement invites presence. It transforms exercise from a task into a practice. Each movement becomes an opportunity to refine coordination between breath, muscle, and intention. This refinement accumulates, improving not just physical capacity, but the quality of attention brought to daily life. As this practice becomes habitual, its effects extend beyond the exercise session. Resting heart rate improves, sleep deepens, and recovery accelerates. The nervous system becomes more flexible, able to respond to stress without becoming trapped in it. The body learns that movement does not have to be a threat to be beneficial. Perhaps the most profound effect is the restoration of agency. Breath is one of the few systems that is both automatic and voluntary. By consciously shaping it during movement, individuals reclaim influence over their internal state. This sense of influence fosters confidence and calm, reinforcing the idea that health is not something chased through extremes, but something cultivated through attention, rhythm, and cooperation with the body's natural intelligence. If you found these insights helpful and want to continue learning practical, science-backed strategies to stay healthy, strong, and vibrant as you age, don't forget to like this video, share it with friends and family who could benefit, and subscribe to our channel for daily senior wellness tips, nutrition guidance, and simple lifestyle hacks designed to enhance longevity and quality of life. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new video that can help you live healthier, happier, and more empowered every day.